What the dog doing? Alright boys, relatively short stream today. but let's begin. Alright, gamers. So, I still have the timer up. Let's put this here. Let me get my bearings real quick, and then we will begin the timer once again. I think we just hit Act 10. We just hit Act 10. Let me get chat up. What's up, Psycho Killer? Devil? Javor? Ads? How did you get ads? Ads should have been earlier. Like, ads should be off. So it's mystical if you manage to get ads. Alright, boys. So it's gonna be a short stream today, because it is Goob's day off finally, so we are gonna chill, but she is currently napping, so we're gonna go ahead and play some video games. Alright, so I think we just hit Act 10. We need to do a couple of things still. So let's go ahead and continue the timer. Alright, let's go. The Bone Zone, true. Yeah, so the timer is just for like reference on when we're actually playing the game, right? Because the thing about it is that playtime is definitely not accurate. That timer is accurate, but playtime is not accurate, like not at all. Don't have to talk to him. This your league start plan? No, because you can see the timer is 6 hours and 34 minutes, and we've only had the timer going when we've been playing, so. I'm probably not going to play Boneshatter, almost assuredly. I will do something else. I'm not exactly sure what, but we will see. I'm probably going to play like Lightning Arrow or Ice Shot or something like that, most likely, is what I'm going to do, because I plan on potentially doing Legion stuff early. So yeah. Ooh, I didn't die. Yo, what's up, Vicious? Yay. Oshless Instrument. I think I said that right. I don't know. Get rid of this. I hate that that pop-up happens every single time I log in, dude. Every single time. I'm assaulted. Okay. I need to get a, I need to spend a little bit more time on my league start testing. Whatchamacallit? The thingy, the loot filter. I need to do a little bit better on that. Vol Caustic Arrow. Vol Caustic Arrow. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to go for something that has like is just like a pretty monster clear build is most likely what I'm gonna do. Because I think I'm gonna be following closer to what like Grimro does early. He just blasts a bunch of maps. Poison BV League starter win. Honestly, you could probably manage a Poison BV Pathfinder right now. Like, that would probably be okay. I just don't think it would be ideal. If I have time, I'm gonna mess around with a Poison spell thing. Every day it's turned into Goatsy instead of the other message that we used to get. Yo, guys, Grim here. Yeah, that's probably my plan. Ancestors might be the most rewarding PoE mechanic ever, and this is how you're gonna do it. What's up, Vivian? We are full of garbaggio. Do I care about boots? Yes, I care about boots. Holy, I care about boots. Great. Any predictions on what builds could be nerfed? Anything, yeah, anything could be nerfed. What do I think will be nerfed? Vengeance Cascade is almost assuredly gone, or at least massively nerfed at this point. Let's see. I can't imagine that Heat Shiver survives. It's already survived for this long. They have confirmed that the Explodey Totem build will not even make it to standard. They're going to delete that before it even makes it to standard, right? So that's gone. I think they said that all of the Crucible stuff is going over, but any ways to enter the Crucible is exiting. So you're not going to be able to have those anymore. Yeah, they are just straight up deleting that totem build. They don't do that very often, but it's obvious that it was not something intended now. You can tell, right? Because like they are they are taking that shit out back and giving it to, dude. Like they're actually just deleting the items from people. They're not even allowing you to keep them. Guess I can pick this up. Oh, there's a recipe there. Wouldn't be shocked if Heat Shiver survives. Heat Shiver is... I just feel like it's on the chopping block at this point. Like, I really feel like it's on the chopping block at this point. Crucible tree items go poof. Anything that's going to allow you to interact with the tree is going away, right? But the items that already have the trees made on them are not going away. But yeah, you're not going to be able to interact with them in any way whatsoever besides maybe like respecking the points a little bit. Maybe that. I don't even know if you're going to be able to do that. The problem with Heat Shiver is it's just... I don't want to say it's too good, but it's like... It makes it difficult to do anything else in that like area, if that makes sense.
Now that you have returned and we have managed
I'm gonna drop that. I don't know that it's the greatest idea, but I'm gonna drop it. And I'm gonna put that there. Okay.
It is good to see that you support.
Yeah, it's like it's a very powerful helmet, but it's not really interesting to use. It's just like, hey, do double damage, easy. Easy. All right, let's see here. Hey, we fixed our resistances, right? Pretty sure we fixed our resistances. Increased armor during flask effect and increased duration. Wow, what a gamer flask, dude. Holy. Nice. Yeah, see, unfortunately, that's what I would like as well, yay, but I don't think that's going to happen. I highly, highly doubt that that would be what happens. You know? Right. Typically the problem that I think GG has with their balancing, and I do think it's a problem, is that they nerf and don't buff and wait to see if stuff fills in the cracks. Is what they tend to do. And I think that's one reason why, I don't know, it's like... I don't know how I feel about the whole philosophy of like, no buffs, no nerfs in the middle of the patch. I don't know how I feel about it. It's good for some reasons and bad for other reasons. Like, I definitely see the reason why you do it, but I don't know. It feels like one of those things. Like, they could probably buff stuff. I mean, I do think that hatred is broken, right? Like, I do think hatred needs to be changed in some way. Or the other auras need to be buffed to be similar to hatred, but like hatred in and of itself is just, it's just so oppressive, honestly, compared to the other auras. It's like, why would you ever run Wrath? Like, what is the point of running Wrath, right? Yeah, Pride is okay. Anger at least has uses as like, you use it for like some of the mods on like a Watcher's Eye or something like that. Its Watcher's Eye mods are at least good. Wrath has nothing, right? Like you don't really ever run Wrath for any good reason, right? You're typically running it because you literally have nothing else to run most of the time. Okay, so we're grabbing Fortify stuff. But Anger, you at least have some Watcher's Eye mods that are pretty solid. Like, it's got like crit multi and Fire Pin, I think. But yeah, it's like, if you're gonna run Wrath, you're probably playing Lightning, and if you're playing Lightning, you're probably playing Crit, so why not run Zealotry instead? You know what I mean? look at this. Yeah, it's like the Watcher's Eye mods are just really, really horrible. Yeah, it's just, they're really bad. There's very few good ones there. You should probably get some cream or something for that, dude. Hey, what's up, Rick? I need to remember. I keep forgetting. Oh, I remember something that I was gonna do that we never did. Okay, we need to fix our slots right now. I need boots. So I need these boots to be something good. Do I have any essences? Other items, dexterity, boots, chance to avoid elemental ailments. It's just not that great. All right, it doesn't really matter. Okay, 15 move speed. Fuck. Oh, those are so bad. What the hell? Jesus, really? Those are so bad, dude. All right, we're gonna use some orbs of binding.
I'll see what I can do.
God, those are so bad, dude. We need some random armor boots. Okay, random armor boots. Okay, that's at least somewhat usable. Can I change a... Okay, I can change that to like something else. Okay, that's usable. I need to get Cast Wind Image Taken going. Do people still use Ols? Occasionally. We need to get Cast Wind Image Taken, Warlord's Mark going, and yeah, we need to move some stuff around. Let's go ahead and do that. We just need 4 red here. Let's go craft move speed on these. Movement speed, 2 chaos? Yeah, that's probably worth. Alright, so put that there, put that there. I need to get, does it matter? Yeah, the attack speed's actually useful. Okay, so we'll put those there. We're probably gonna need to change our resistances around. Yeah, our cold resist is bad now. Resist, cold resist. Is this a good helmet? It actually is. Okay, now our resistances are good. Okay, so we need to go buy... Oh, I didn't go to Lily. I didn't do Lily's quest. I keep forgetting that I have to do this every single time, dude. Yeah, Ols can be good. It's not like as good as it used to be, but it can still be good in a lot of cases, right? Like, it can still be pretty solid. I didn't do Lily's quest. Only. At least I can just like speedrun one-shot everything now. Besides rares, of course. Still can't one-shot rares. I guess I'm not that far removed from this area. It's 45. I'm only like 20 levels higher. Some of my gear is like still blue gear from, you know, Act 2. Garbage weapon effect is still present. You don't like my big shiny dildo, dude? Come on. You don't like my big alien anal probe? Come on, dude. Still holding Koshara's star? Yeah, I haven't picked up a lot of stuff. That's one thing that I'm pretty bad about, is turning in skill point quests. I kind of just like wait for so long. Way longer than I should. Okay. Amethyst ring. Probably terrible. Okay. I do want that. Alright, so we want Warlord's Mark. We want cast, win, damage taken. Those. Then we don't want to level them up. We just want them to stay low level. Okay, beyond that, what other links do we need? Blood Rage is fine as is. I just need to remember to press it. That's all I gotta do. I just gotta stop trolling and I need to remember to press it. That Strong Uniques was the best item you've ever had? Oh, that's a tough one, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, that's actually a pretty tough one. Strongest item I've ever had. It's definitely some crafted item. Like, it's definitely some random crafted item, but as for which one? I don't know. I did have a pretty yeah, it's probably some random Harvest League stuff. Like, I have a, it's not powerful anymore, but back when I did have it, I had a, for the Ball Lightning Archmage build, I had like an explodey, like, I had an explodey chest on that build that was pretty insane. We are shattering, we're boning. Yeah, I had a explodey chest on that build that was pretty insane. There's also a random pair of gloves I had on one of my steel champs that was just like, I just got unbelievably lucky on it. It has like the perfect of everything. What if bone shattering steel? We're already pretty much going Impale, so I mean, like, I'm gonna run Impale support potentially. Replica unique. I wonder if they'll add any more of those. Don't level this up either. Okay. Let's see. Replica Comb Spear. Generate 1 shield shard per second for every 50 life recovery. Yeah, this will never happen. No one cares about steel skills. You know how much work I'd have to put in to get people to like steel skills? You know how much work? I actually dreamed you were streaming CTR and sold Brussels sprouts from your own garden on stream. Yeah, that's me, dude. That's me, my guy. Well, at least I was able to just like stand there the entire time and didn't really have to think about anything. You feel Trial Ancestor is going to be amazing now with Sanctum Edified? I think that depending on what we get from the end game keystones is whether or not it's going to be good. That's what I think. I think the end game keystones are going to be carrying a lot, of the weight of the expansion, if I'm gonna be real with you. Because the thing about it is that the Ancestors thing looks cool, but it doesn't look like it's going to have a ton of longevity, most likely. If it does have some longevity, that's great, but I never expect them to. However, if the in-game keystone stuff is interesting, we have some potential for a pretty good league. Because most of the time in history, the leagues that I like the most, the leagues that have the most longevity, are the ones that change the base game in some meaningful way, where I feel like I'm able to play for longer because there's more to explore. And 16 new keystones could definitely do that, because it could make it so that other forms of farming are useful again, which is a lot of time that you could spend exploring stuff. Because I'm probably going to put out a video talking about my thoughts on each and every single one of the keystones, like which one's good, which one's bad, some things that you could use to farm with all the different keystones, and I want to attempt a bunch of those this league, since, you know, there's not much else to do realistically. With the chance we can get Tattooed Atlas. Tattooed Atlas. I don't know that I don't know if they'll do any kind of Tattooed Atlas, if I'm gonna be real. Oh, I logged out to login screen, nice. Yeah, that's always the problem with blighted stuff, is that, like, it would be good if you could use it in blighted maps, because I don't really think that blights in maps are that interesting, right? They're just not that cool. But definitely the ones that we saw were pretty interesting. Like the Maven farming one, that one looks like it could be pretty solid, right? because you could potentially have up to maybe 8 bosses in a map, right? Like you could potentially have 8 map bosses in a map, depending on how that works. Do you think you would do a video about farming strat if you received some data points on it? I don't like using other people's data points most of the time to make a video, unless it is a very, very, very reputable source. I tend to like to use my own data points because then I feel like I'm adding to the conversation instead of just detracting. I'm not really detracting, but I tend to like to use my own data points, if that makes sense. Additional data points from other people are always welcomed. This does not look... Oh, I'm clicking the wrong one. There we go. Keystone gonna be hella crazy, and probably some new player don't know how to build. They can easily rush blight maps to get some currency. Yeah, I think that that's probably fine, but the issue is just that it's the blight mechanic, right? Like blight maps don't work for it. That's always the issue that I have with the blight stuff on the tree, is that just like doing blights in maps is typically not great as like a main form of content. What happened to attempt number 1? It just reached its logical conclusion and there wasn't much reason to continue with what we currently had. It was just better off to start again because it would end up being faster overall, I think. Because yeah, it's like the problem, okay, there would need to be one change, all right? Hear me out. There would need to be one change to blighted maps for me to actually, or blights in maps for me to think that they'd be good, okay? And this change will never happen, I don't think. Currently, the way that blights work, right, is, I'm not killing anything. Currently, the way that blights work is that you have to be near the towers for them to be able to do stuff. If they just made it so that you could make a tower and then it would just do stuff no matter what, you could do blights in maps and be fine, right? What is this build? This is Boneshatter. You could be fine because with that new keystone, if you felt confident enough in your building, you could build the blight towers, right? And then you could just leave. You could just leave, let it finish itself after you've already built everything that you need, that you think is good. You've got it to the point where you think it's good, and then you could just leave and do other stuff around the map, right? We've got the portal shredder. Hold up here. I want to not die if I can help it. What stats? What is your source of damage and regen? So I'm Boneshatter, and one of the biggest sources of damage is just the fact that this build stacks trauma. You can see that little buff up in the top left. It's the third buff from the left. As you stack more and more stacks of trauma, you deal additional damage, right? The source of regen is coming from the fact that I am a Juggernaut, and I've got it's a percent of any physical damage that I prevent is regenerated to me as life. Okay, so we are going top right now. That's the main recovery that this build uses. The reason that I'm going this instead of what typically is done as like a Slayer is because this recovery does not require you to be hitting an enemy. What was that? Oh, this is Aberrant. Oh my god. That meteor hits so hard. I want to kill this because I think it's going to drop me something, but like... Holy dude, it actually did not drop me anything. Yeah, the reason I want to go this over Slayer is just that Slayer's recovery is very dependent on hitting things, and you have to be hitting things. And it also requires you to use Volpact, I'm pretty sure, which can be pretty annoying for a lot of people. Oh god, am I dead? No, I'm good. But yeah, Juggernaut is just a little bit more consistent, in my opinion. You think Bleed Bow takes too much to get going? What does... You remember that guy that made the video? You know the one. The guy that made the video about Bleed Bow that was memeing on MBX. What did he say? Because his build looked good. Did he say that you could get it going without infinite amounts of gear? I feel like you probably can't run Bleed Bow without a lot of gear right now. But what did that guy say? Because it seemed like his build was pretty well put together. I didn't really see very many issues with what he was doing. Okay, we'll grab this. We need to do top right.
My mana is gone.
There was nice, but bosses, eh? Wasn't the bossing on his somewhat okay? I mean, I don't think you're ever gonna get good boss damage on a bleed character, like a bleed bow character right now. PoE Vault. I tend to not go to very many PoE websites, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Max Roll is fine, but I don't know very much about most of the other PoE websites. Like Max Roll is like rather prominent PoE content creators making the guides, but yeah, I have also heard that the Tripolar Bear version of Boneshatter is pretty mid. I need to be careful here. That could have killed me right there, actually, because he attacked my totem instead of me. That's one of the problems with having like minions or totems or anything on Azaro. When he does that swipe, he can target your totem.
Sweep the trappings of past emperors aside.
Yeah, I don't know all of the people that are on PoE Vault, so I'm not sure. What's the most feel-good Act 1 skills for League Start? It depends on where you're at. Like, depends on what part of the tree you're on. Am I dead? Oh, okay. I don't think that you would do Bleed Bow as League Start right now, for sure. I don't think that's the case. But there's a ton of abilities that are fine. It just really depends on like what you're doing in the early game, right? You know? Okay. Petrified Blood is good for getting Overleech for sure. I've used that in plenty of my builds. The problem is just that Petrified Blood is a pretty big investment, and you need to have ways to deal with the downsides of Petrified Blood. And you need to be able to make good use of the upsides of Petrified Blood. One big problem is that with Petrified Blood in general, there are a lot of degen mechanics. There's a lot of damage over time mechanics, especially in Ubers, and damage over time is not good for Petrified Blood. It's like the one big problem that like playstyle has, and it's just everywhere, right?
An aspirant can afford to be promising. An emperor must keep
All right.
promises.
We should have set this up relatively well.
Trap of the world. Rise to the occasion.
Gotta let the trauma drop off a little bit.
Delight in your gilded dungeon, ascendant.
All right, there we go. I only got one key. It drops nothing. Yep. Petrified Blood. Give Wordless Word Loop a try. I don't know about that one. Okay, so third point, Unbreakable. And as much as I'd like Unstoppable, it's definitely Unbreakable. We need the defenses. You planning to try Wave of Conviction Ignite or DD? If I have time. For sure. That is so sad. Honestly, if I don't use brutality, that would be a crazy axe. You have any build suggestions for lazy PoE returners like me? RF is probably the laziest build that there is. And it's pretty good all the time. Pox makes a updated guide at all times. So probably that. Ooh, those might be the boots. They're even 4-socketed, I just need to link them and recolor them. Those might be the boots. Because I can put lightning res on them. Also might be a ring. It's got an open suffix. Finally, we're getting good gear, dude. I wish that this was good. I'm gonna hold on to this just because. 106 to 153. Like, it's almost good as is, but I really would need to craft fizz on it. And there's no way that I'm gonna get an annulment orb, like, not anytime soon. And by the time that I got an annulment orb, it wouldn't be as good. Right. So we need to 4-link these. Actually, I don't need to 4-link these, right? I just need a 2-link, and I just need to recolor them? Yeah, okay. I don't need to 4-link these. Okay, so that's fine. And now I need to craft lightning res on them. Right? How much lightning res do I have? 95. So I don't need a huge lightning res mod. Just need like a baby one. It should be good, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, big upgrade. Huge upgrade. More movement speed, more life, armor, all that good stuff. Get out of here. Alright, so ring now. Which of these is worse? This one probably, because it has very low life on it. Oh, this one also has low life though. These are both really bad rings. What's up, PZ? So both really bad rings. But that one, I actually can't use it. I have to hold on to it for now. I just can't use it right now. That sucks. Any God Touch loot goblins still a thing? I mean, technically they are still a thing. It's just you don't know that they're a thing. They happen, right? Like you get those big random crazy explosion of items mobs. Those still happen, but you just don't know that they're going to happen, right? Like you can't tell when one is showing up in front of you, right? It just kind of suddenly you get a loot explosion out of nowhere, right? Okay, so now we have fortify. We should go this way, yeah? Just double checking. Oh, we need to remove that point as well. Go that way, yeah? We don't need anything else from here. Got life there. Got that there. My accuracy is way high enough. Got life there. I could take that node, but I think it's probably somewhat inefficient. I could take Bastion Breaker as well. That might be good damage-wise. I probably should take Bastion Breaker. 10% more maximum physical attack damage is pretty good. That's just good damage. It might be better damage than all of this up here, too. Chance to intimidate enemies with hits on attack is also really powerful, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this would get me enemies hit. Yeah, it's gotta be this way. Alright. Man, I miss Heavy Strike, dude. You guys remember Heavy Strike? I remember Heavy Strike. How many of you have been around since the Hit It Very Hard build? Hit It Very Hard build was a fun build, dude. It was literally a Flicker Strike Berserker that swapped to Starforge and used Heavy Strike. That build was interesting. So I had Terminus Est in one hand, right? That sounds eternally painful. It was actually really good. Because back then, Berserker was very different. So it had Terminus Est in one hand, right? So that just enabled infinite flicker, right? Because you were crit. And then in the other hand, you swapped to Heavy Strike, and Heavy Strike was actually just insane single target damage ability back then. And you could essentially just like stun lock every single boss in the game, right? Like you could just instant stun lock down and kill basically everything with Heavy Strike. The only problem that Heavy Strike had is that it would knock back a little bit, and there was no realistic way to get it to not knock back so much. Those were the days, boys. Them's was the good old days. The hit it very hard build. Crusader boots. The other mods on them are so bad. What was the most broken build in PoE ever? Probably the Herald stacking build, right? I think that was probably the most broken one that ever existed. Yeah, the Delirium Herald stacking, Aura stacking build. Because that build became essentially invulnerable and did infinite damage. You could use pretty much any ability that you wanted to. That was probably the most broken build that's ever existed, if I had to guess. That shit was absolutely busted and needed a nerf. Because it was actually just breaking the game, right? Like it was a good learning lesson for GDG to not make shit like that anymore and to test for that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's not even really an exaggeration. The build was immortal. Like, it couldn't actually die to pretty much anything that could happen in the game. Like, you could stand in Cirrus Storms and be fine, right? You could scale billions of damage, right? Like, unheard of amounts of damage. And you could use any skill that you wanted to. You could use Spark, you could use Ethereal Knives, you could use anything. Do you think of Spectral Throw? I think Spectral Throw is okay right now, but it's not like a top tier build or anything.
I cannot do this yet.
Your Pledge of Hands ball ending build ever returned? I tried to make it work in Sentinel League and it didn't. However, the return projectile support is here. It's too bad that like returning on Ball Lightning is just like fundamentally broken, so that's cool. Can I survive this? Yeah, it did like no damage to me. You could use Conversion Trap. Ah, yes. The best ability. Can I actually just stand in everything? Not everything. Yeah, I can actually stand in most stuff. Shrapnel Ballista? Ballistas in general are pretty strong right now. Alsteron's almost grown his entire YouTube channel off of ballistas being strong. not even really memeing. Alright. Pretty good. Ball axe. That's all we want to take here. Alright, so we need, that's really bad. That's also pretty bad. I can sell it. Funny as I found him with this EA Ballista build. Yep. Yes, sir. Right, we gotta go do skill point quests, and then we'll jump into Meeps. Time and tide. Wait for no man. Is it true that you said new Chiefs real could be good? I think it could be interesting. Keep in mind, on that video, most of the time I was saying it could be interesting, it could be good, could be insane. The thing about it is we never really know. We don't know until we have all the information. At the end of the day, I think that it has a bunch of unique effects that are going to be relatively powerful, and because it has unique effects that are going to be relatively powerful, I think there will be some pretty crazy builds that'll come out of it. Now, are those builds going to be Righteous Fire? Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, if I remember, Pock said early on Righteous Fire would be bad on Chieftain, but it could be good later. We also have no idea how the strike stuff is going to work, and the strike stuff could be pretty big for a lot of that, right?
I cannot do this yet.
Like the strike skills, depending on if they rework Toa's Chosen, which it kind of looks like they are, could be either great or terrible, right? We just don't really know yet. Is EA Ballista easy for new players? Yeah. It's very easy because you just toss down the ballistas and they do the damage for you and you don't really worry about anything. I guess this toy will just work like Mirage Archer and do multiple swings. I'm hopeful that they rework it, one, to work with like Ancestral Cry and the other thing that's behind it. I hope they make it work with that, and I hope they just like remove the cooldown on it, honestly. Like if they just removed the cooldown on it and maybe gave it like a slight damage nerf or something, it would be so much better. 282 looks pretty bad. Depends on what you're looking for. I think the game for the general populace looks like it's probably gonna be fucking amazing. I just don't know that I particularly like what I see, because it looks like they're reducing the crafting complexity and making things slightly more annoying in that regard. The gameplay isn't really up my alley, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that monk showcase looked really, really bad to me. The huntress looks a little bit better to me. The sorceress looks okay, but yeah, it's all gonna be a matter of preference, I think. Free game, no bitching. True, dude. Not allowed to complain. It's actually just illegal. I don't know how mercenaries will work. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay. All right. I didn't do Marooned Mariner. Thinking emoji. How do we rush to get all void stones? I'm kind of stuck with that one. There's a couple different ways to do it, but I mean, it's relatively straightforward how you do it. The big thing about it is just that you need to scale maps very quickly. The problem with getting void stones for most people is actually being able to kill the bosses. Getting there is not that bad, right? For Maven, you just need to do Maven influenced maps, and you have to like get up to high tier maps, right? For Eater and for Exarch, you just follow those quests and do their influenced maps. Uber Elder's a little bit less straightforward because you need to get like all of the fragments, meaning you need to do a lot of Shapers or a lot of Elders. Alternatively, you can just buy carries to all of those things on like TFT or something like that and just not worry about it at all. Depends on what you want to do. You can also, if you think that you can do it yourself, you can just buy the pieces that let you go into those different places, right? But yeah, what most people what most people do is they will do Eater and Exarch themselves, and then they buy carries for Maven and for Uber Elder. But as per usual, flexing your capitalism in PoE makes things a lot easier. Just depends on if you're wanting to do it for like a challenge for yourself or not. Don't mind doing the bosses. I mean, getting to them itself, yeah. 3 of them are straightforward. If you want to do Maven, you do Maven content, right? If you want to do Eater and Exarch, you do Eater Exarch content. You just do the maps and you will eventually get there. Uber Elder is a little bit less straightforward because you have to like get the drops. Like you have to get the Elder maps, and you have to get the Shaper Guardian maps, like both of those. You have to get all the fragments. You have to kill the bosses, Elder and Shaper, and then you need to get those bosses to drop the fragments for Uber Elder, and then do Uber Elder, right? It's like 4 different kind of annoying steps, so. Okay, we'll grab that. I haven't been able to do the Maven on my own. A lot of the big fights are pretty tough. Nowadays, I think if you are relatively competent at the game and you play a good build that's meant for bossing, I think you should be able to do normal versions of most of the endgame bosses, right? Uber Elder's actually a pretty annoying fight. Maven, the big problem with Maven is probably if you have issues with the memory game, and maybe a little bit with the last phase, and the memory game is probably that. Baldur's Gate 3 says hi. I have very little interest in playing Baldur's Gate, to be honest with you. I kind of like those kinds of games, but at the same time, I don't know how to explain it to you. There have been like some CRPGs that I enjoy, but it really, really, really depends. Like maybe I'll get it on sale someday in the future, but I don't see myself interacting with it a ton right now, especially with PoE coming up like right now. Like I got a lot to do, you know? And yeah, there's like a billion people who are way, way, way more excited than I am for Baldur's Gate 3 that you can watch for sure. More stupid builds in PoE. I mean, that's pretty much almost every build in PoE, to be honest with you, is some weird, big, dumb build. Play Wasteland or the OG Fallouts. The OG Fallouts, like 1 and 2. I think I played a little bit of them a while back when I was like child, but I don't think I ever played through them. I played 3, I played 4. Interestingly enough, I didn't play New Vegas, the best one. Release date, as far as I know, is the 18th. Well, yeah, it's because as companies get bigger, they want to go more towards widespread consumer appeal, and the original Fallout games definitely don't really have very much wide, you know, like consumer appeal anymore. I mean, it makes sense. Okay. All right. Love clicking that every time I log in. You guys can't see it because it's behind my big ugly mug, but I have to see it every single time that I log into the game. I gotta see the big old, ah yes, Garrick's Vault Pass, go click a Rooney. Okay, enemies you hit are destroyed. We'll do Slaughter next. Reflection of Terror. 6.5-ish hours isn't too bad for all skill point quests, labs, and everything. That's not too terrible. It's obviously not like speedrunner tier or anything like that, or racer tier, but for someone who really doesn't push this to be that fast at the end of the day, I think that's pretty decent. Speed-wise, the build performed pretty well. I definitely got absolutely deep-dicked though. Like, I got so deep-dicked, and not in a good way. When it came to gear early on, like, it was really bad, dude. I had like no resists, I had like no life. I actually don't want to do this delirium. But yeah, I got real hard screwed early on. I had a good weapon though, so I will say that. I did have a good weapon. Oh, okay. Hopefully I can carry this all the way to the boss. Let's just see if we can just get there. I think it's the same zone, right? think it's right around this corner. Yeah. Right. Playing for time, you can definitely skip away more mobs. Yeah, for sure. I'm not really playing for time. I'm just kind of playing test the build out, and we were kind of slow with like figuring some stuff out among other things, so I mean, not bad, honestly, all things considered. Do a video on this build? No, not yet. I will make a video with like my thoughts on it here soon after we finish the Eater Exarch portion of it, and then later on I will make a video for League Start type stuff, but not right now. We have a lot of just different builds that we need to get through. I'll throw together basic POBs for this kind of stuff, off of like what we have here with like a couple trees, but they're not going to be finalized by any means at this point. We need to see patch notes, and then I go into infinite grind mode. But all of the live streams of the build have been live on YouTube, so if you're interested in seeing anything that happened before, you can watch those live streams. They're in the live stream playlist. You see the trailer for the new Castlevania series? I have not. I've been kind of in PoE mode recently. Only things that I've been doing recently are hanging out with Goob, playing PoE and streaming, my normal like day-to-day shower, eat, cook food, and maybe a tiny bit of TFT. That's pretty much all I've been doing. When was the last time Base Cyclone was good? Before they nerfed Champion Impale. A gamer that showers, yes. User. I don't shower super often. I talked about this yesterday because it's not super good for your skin to like scrub super often. But like yesterday, I got in the shower and like rinsed off, you know? Like, you don't have to shower and scrub with soap and use shampoo every single day. It's bad for your skin, bad for your hair. But you can still like jump in and rinse off or something real quick. It takes like 5 minutes to jump in and rinse off. But yeah, the only time when I am really like showering, like scrubbing myself every single day is like if you go out, and I can't run right now out in Florida. It's just too much. Florida is just way too fucking hot every single day, even at nighttime. So whenever I'm out trail running every single day, or like 4 or 5 times a week, then yeah, I'm showering every single fucking day and scrubbing myself because I'm covered in like bugs and filth and sweat and all that kind of shit, right? Who's thinking to not shower every day? If it's under your arms that smells, you could always try like massively trimming the hair under your arms is something you could do. That reduces the smell quite a bit. Hair traps a lot of sweat and it traps a lot of smell. So if you have issues with, you feel like you have a lot of unwanted smells, you can try trimming the hair in very areas. Not very, yeah, I mean, it's something that could be happening. Some people just naturally have much stronger odors from their sweat. It is what it is. Probably just got unlucky in that regard. Why not move to Alaska? Because Alaska fucking sucks. Like, Goob loves Alaska. I don't fucking love Alaska. I think Alaska is one of those places where you can like it for a couple of years, but it very, very, very quickly would get annoying. Like, you know the... What's his name? Darth Microtransactions, the guy that Asmongold, like, blew up. I randomly got suggested a video of his, and he was talking about living in Alaska, and I'm like, yeah, dude, because I lived in Alaska for a while, right? But yeah, it's just no bueno, dude. You're out in the middle of nowhere. The internet kind of sucks. Like, you don't have good servers to connect to most of the time. Like, there's lots of cool stuff to do in Alaska, and if you have the desire to do those kinds of things, there's plenty of really cool things to do. But you got to be about that life, right? And I'm not about that life. It sucked having to get up every day and put on like 3 layers of clothes to be able to go outside, you know? Ducks, I did a thing today. What was the thing? Because yeah, it's like when it is 40 below, you can't just get up and just go walk outside, right? Like you can't just do that. Doesn't work. You have to get up and put your base layer on, you know, whatever you got to get on there. Put your second layer on, and then put your coat on. And then sometimes when you get used to it, like I got to the point where 20 degrees was comfortable for me to go outside in shorts, like 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll get a Celsius number for that in a moment. Finally replaced my GPU. Dude, you should have replaced all your shit forever ago, man. What do you think about Molten Strike? It's a good delivery system for poison right now, with Vengeant Cascade. I don't exactly know how it'll do next league. Still had my 9th. Jesus Christ, dude. You should have upgraded that forever ago. Yeah, that is definitely due for an update. I have my 980 Ti sitting right there, actually. It's like sitting out because I needed to get into my closet and I had to move some shit. What's the question, sicko? Straight to a 3060 Ti? Pretty good. The 30 series is definitely a lot better than the 40 series in my opinion, so good choice. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Daughter. Now we have to do Valenta. When will Asmon blow you up? Probably never. The last time that Asmongold and his friends watched my channel was the BFBB incident. You saw how that went. Heard that Blazing Salvo plus Return Projectile could be something with Poison variant. Blazing Salvo plus Return Projectile. Does Blazing Salvo work well with that? I don't remember hearing anything about that. Yeah, for those that don't know, the reason that the whole BFBB cycle was so painful was, from what I remember, it's been a while now, so I don't remember a lot of the details, but from what I remember, that was when Asmongold was playing Path of Exile on mainstream, and he was playing it with McConnell. And from what I remember, one of my builds, I think it was probably BFBB, I think McConnell played BFBB and sucked at it, and just started shit-talking it super heavily, and it got like a lot of negative press because of that, so people still shit-talk that BFBB build. To this day, I still think that that build was fine. Like, I still think that build was fine. It just didn't do well for the league mechanic, and I couldn't know that there was going to be monkey gangbangs constantly. I put out like 3 videos afterwards saying like, yeah, this is what you can do to fix it, all that kind of stuff, and people still give me shit for that, you know? But it is what it is. Like, there are still people on like Reddit and other places that say, oh, Big Ducks, the BFBB guy? It was 3 years ago, dude. But yeah, once we got the shield, it was fine. I didn't have any issues. But yeah, that's my GOAT moment. Monkey gangbangs? In Ultimatum League, there was this thing that could happen where you could get like, you know the summoner monkeys, the ones that do like the chest beating and they summon a whole bunch of enemies and like give bonuses to all the enemies around you? Well, what could end up happening is that one of the mob types was just all of those monkeys, and yeah, that's what I ended up calling it. Yeah, and they had auras and all kinds of good shit. It was a fun time. But yeah, like to this day, I still think that build was fine. It just didn't do well in Ultimatum. It did fine in everything else. It just did not do well with the league mechanic, which is very unfortunate. The rest of my builds were perfectly fine and had no issues. Creeping Frost, the league after that, was probably the build that I regret the most. That's why I got on stream with Rue one time and talked it out, and because of the stream that I had with Rue, I I basically like, I didn't take the video down, but I marked it as outdated pretty quickly. And I thought that was good enough, but you know, it is what it is. The Creeping Frost build, I think it was 3.15, the Creeping Frost build I regretted the most. Because that one was just bad. It just wasn't good anymore. Hey, what's up, Diva? But BFBB, I don't know. It still did everything that I said it did, it just wasn't great for the league mechanic. What's up, Ross?
My money is gone.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. The build just got hit too hard randomly by the nerfs. To be fair, there weren't very many builds that were good that league, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it was basically just like there were like 2 builds that even functioned, but that one, it just lost too much. It just lost too much. How many league starters you planned? Just as many as I can get out comfortably that are good enough. Is pretty much how much I'm planning. Probably like 3 or 4. It really depends.
Finish it well.
PvP dealt a lot of damage. It was a huge damage build, yeah, but it was relatively glass cannon. Because like that build did like 1 billion DPS or something. It was something insane like that, right? All right, so this is where we're at. Now we do maps. I don't have my map device yet. Okay, so we're gonna do the wandering path strategy.
How's the trail?
Let's see here. Is Jug armor reduction against elemental damage calculated after or before resistances? I have no idea. The wiki can probably tell you. Bone crypt. I have a bone crypt, so I just take whatever I want. What skill would you like to receive a buff the most? Ooh. I don't know. I actually don't know which one I'd like to receive a buff the most.
It would be wrong to do.
There's plenty of skills that need it. There's so many skills that need it that I don't know which one, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Alright, let's see where we're at. Alright, first map. Need to get War Chief going. I can't get close to this thing for some reason. Probably already been asked, is this build recent or is there going to be a video guide for it? This build is not recent, but interestingly enough, there isn't really a good video guide for Boneshatter Juggernaut. There's a hardcore one, but there's no softcore one. There's Garathas for hardcore, but there's just not really a good softcore one, so I'm going to try to make one. Yeah, clear is excellent, right? Clear is pretty excellent. However, single target still leaves a small amount to be desired. But I definitely think the change to taking Fortify on the tree actually made a pretty big difference. I actually think it made a pretty huge difference. Because, like, it's really hard to get Fortify very early. Like, you lose a lot of damage. And for just a couple of points, getting 23 Fortify on the tree is pretty good. Oh, way too familiar with Witch and Templar over the past 2 years? I mean, yeah, if you're just wanting something safe, for sure. Stick with what you know. I tend to like playing new and weird stuff a lot of the time. Not bad. Alright, we need portal scrolls pretty bad. Okay, so we need to get... Where is a 3-link that I could put it in? I could put it there, and I have 1 slot here, but these are armor evasion gloves. Blood Rage momentum. I could move Blood Rage here, but these are armor evasion as well. I need another slot in my weapon. A Boneshatter Juggernaut champion wouldn't make sense. It doesn't have any way to recover life. You're talking about between Slayer? I just think that this is more consistent than Slayer is. Early on, at the very least. Okay, so we need more sockets in this for sure. I just need this to be a 4-socket. Like, there's no getting around it. I just need this to be a 4-socket. 47. Okay, 4-socket. Should be able to get 3 red here, right? Yeah. Probably it might be hard to get. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, good. So we need multiple totems. Where's my ancestral? Ancestral protector. War chief. And then I don't know. We could put berserk in here or something. I could put brutality there. That doesn't really matter. Boneshatter, melee fizz, ruthless, faster attacks. So I probably want to swap out faster attacks at this point for brutality. I don't need this in there anymore because I think my attack speed's good enough now. Okay. And then when we get a 5-link, we do close combat. Yo, that guy was taken. Thank you for the prime. Appreciate you. Maim with the totems is great. I could do Maim, yeah. I could do Maim. Make sure to pet ducks in the chat as well. I could do Maim. I have room for it right now, so I could do that. That's fine. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go towards the right, and we are going to beeline for Wandering Path. We're going to go up through here, grab these nodes, and then probably just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just go straight for Wandering Path. And then we're going to drop this node. We're going to go and grab these 2 nodes. We're going to go and grab all of these nodes. We're going to grab as many of these. 2% chance for 1 monster in each of your maps to drop an additional connected map is what we're going to do. So we're going to beeline this way. Appreciate your Bezos bucks, my guy. Okay, Ancestral Protector. I don't need that actually right now. That is the lower level one. I do want to level this. Oh, okay. So that's good. All right. Everything worked out, boys. I need this to be an instant flask. I need this to be an instant flask. Quite badly. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but it's something. You have any experience with discharge? Depends. Like, what are you trying to do with discharge? What are you discharging, my guy? Okay. Weak bosses are possessed. Arch Nemesis was tough gameplay for it. I feel like discharge right now is a little rough. I feel like discharge is in a little bit of a rough spot right now. Oh shit. My skills are all fucked. Boneshatter, yep. War Chief. Where's my Berserk? Berserk, okay. Skills were all fucked up. Why can't I level this up? Oh, I'm not smart enough. Huh. Interesting. What's similar to Flay and Rend in D4? Ooh, you're talking like bleed type abilities? Honestly, there's not a lot, but the closest thing is probably going to be something along the lines of like Corrupting Blood, but it's a ranged ability. Corrupting Blood's gonna be like there's a Corrupting Blood, a Corrupting Fever champion by Rue. It's relatively similar to the feel of those, but it doesn't have great single target damage. With Vol Reap, I think it has decent single target damage now though, right? Discharge pretty much one of those skills of people with too much currency. Yeah, nowadays it does feel like it is a currency burner skill. A stacking charges to put one giant ignite, literally 2 shine game bosses with it. Mapping was weird and clunky. Yeah, so the ignite version, you need to be doing ignite prolif to really be able to get the mapping to feel good with that one. Were you trying to do like big ignite prolif? Like you'd probably need to like actually slot the ignite prolif gem in there, and then you'd have to get the ring, maybe would help as well. But yeah, I mean that build is just going to be clunky in general. That build's been around forever. That was probably the first like OP build, was ignite discharge, right? Like that was probably the one. It was Crip. I don't remember which. Is it one of the? It's not one of the barracks rings. Which ring is it that proliferates ignites, right? I don't remember which one. Ask ChatGPT to make build guides for you. I actually tried that, and it provided me a POB. Like I actually had ChatGPT provide me a POB link, but the POB link didn't open. Like I told it to give me a paste bin, or I didn't tell it to give me a paste bin link. I told it to give me a code for path of building for a specific build, and it gave me a code, but when I tried to open it, it was just empty. So yeah. All right, where do we go from here? Probably this. So yeah, it was just empty, unfortunately. So it's not there yet. I'm waiting for someone to train ChatGPT to make POB builds. I'm waiting for it, dude. Despot Axe. Alright, I'm gonna have to go buy portal scrolls most likely. Okay. Beelining it this way. One of these be good? Nope. I'll keep this Despot Axe though. That can be a base to craft on potentially. Do I have portal scrolls? I do not.
Greetings.
I'm gonna have to start picking up portal scrolls. My amulet's real bad. That's one of the first things I need to replace. This is probably better, right? This doesn't have almost anything on it. Yeah, this is actually just better, even though it's terrible. Honestly, this is better. That's probably better than my current amulet. Alright, let's sell some stuff here. Get rid of that. I'm probably not going to reuse Rock Gut ever. Probably not going to use that either, or that. I'm never going to use these. Let's just get rid of them. Don't really care to keep them. Against the bleed, I probably won't use either. Okay. Let's keep on keeping on. Maps. Colonnade. Okay. Which Ignite Prolif ring? What is the name of it? This has Reflect? No, it doesn't. It's Barracks Respite. But I don't know if the range on that got nerfed, I can't remember. Yeah, it's Barracks Respite. Whoa, what is this lag? What the hell? Getting some weird chunkiness right now. Imagine playing PoE at 15 FPS. I could play PoE mobile if I wanted to do that, dude. I remember back when I was like giga poor, had nothing, and I was trying to play PoE on like a shitty little like tiny laptop that my dad had. I remember, dude. That shit was rough. I could barely even load the game. Like the textures wouldn't load because the computer was so bad. Them's were the days. Them's were the days. Steam Deck was better than the like random little weird laptop thing I had. Like, hands down, there's no way that it was better, or no way that it was worse. Cause like I could barely even get the game to load, right? Like I had to like go into the settings and change a whole bunch of shit to even get the game to load up. Why is this thing wrecking me? Okay. I thought about using Barracuda Spite during early league. That one's interesting. Yeah, Barracuda Spite's good. Just because of the way that it inflicts ignites. Where's the last enemy? Alright, do we get anything good? Not really. Probably take the Scour, because those are hard to get. Maybe that. Oh, I have one ritual remaining. Okay. Got one ritual left. Was all your first MMO? It was the first real MMO that I played, that I like actually played. My mom's friend when I was young tried getting me to play EverQuest with her and her husband, and I tried that for a little bit, but it never really clicked with me. I think I was too young to be able to understand EverQuest properly. Because like, EverQuest was pretty complicated back then. It had like a lot of weird stuff. So it was kind of hard for me to understand that as like a literal child. WoW was a little bit more straightforward and easy for me though, so WoW clicked. Because in WoW, when I first started, I only raided in Classic towards the very, very end. Like, I just barely made it in time for Naxxramas. Like, I just barely made it in time, right? Because, like, my first character was a hunter in WoW, and I didn't really know what I was doing, so I ended up farming those random cultists in Silithus for like 3 levels to get to 60. Like I just did that for like 2 weeks straight. And then I got in with a guild that we did all of the whatever content leading up to Naxxramas, and then I never finished Nax, but I got to raid a decent amount of it. Okay. Got killed by the boss. Forgot he was even there. Get Ignite Prolif from a medium fire cluster gem. Yeah, Fan the Flames as well is pretty good. So one of the Prime Gaming rewards are level 4 ups in Diablo 4. Yeah, no, that's a thing. Like I said, it's gonna be a super slippery slope with Diablo 4 and pay-to-win stuff. Alright, we have 5,000. I grabbed that. I grabbed that. at this point it's probably just these, those, that. Yeah, probably. Okay, we're good. WoW was so not a thing in Eastern Europe. I had a couple of friends when I was, oh my god. What the hell, dude? Huh. Unethical, my guy. I had a couple of friends when I was younger that were from Eastern Europe. Or at least the Europe region. I don't know how Eastern they were. But they were just from there. I remember very vividly getting used to saying the word kurva all the time when I was a kid. And I didn't know what it meant. And then one of my random teachers, one of my random teachers knew what the word meant. And they're like, stop saying that. And I was like, huh? It's just a word that my friends online say all the time. And I was like, and they're like, stop saying that. I'm like, okay, sorry. I didn't fucking know what it was, dude. All right, we got a couple actually really good items here. It might not be better than my current chest piece, but I'll hold on to it. Polish, yeah. All right, so we can definitely use this. We need to put one more resist on it, right? Fire and lightning, so I need to put fire res on this.
I cannot do this yet.
The my one friend was her name, I don't exactly know, but it was this. That was her name in WoW back in the day. That was just her name, and she used to say it all the time. All right, let's see here. I need fire resist. All right, that's much better. Yeah, that was her name that she used to use in WoW. All right, so I don't need this anymore. All right, maps, scriptorium. But yeah, it was just, it was honestly, it was kind of funny because I used to say that shit all the time. I used to just say it just to say it, right? Because I was like a kid. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. We have been shattering the bones, yes, but yeah, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing, and then one of my teachers randomly was like, "Stop saying that. It's a really bad word," and I was like super embarrassed because I didn't know, dude. Because I was like saying it in class to my friends, and my friends started saying it too, and they had to like stop us from doing it. Probably one of the like moments that I can think of. You know how you have those moments in your life that you just like you'll be sleeping at nighttime and all of a sudden it'll just creep into your mind and it'll be like, fuck, God, that was so embarrassing, right? And you know those moments, right? One for me was when I was in 3rd grade, right? So in 3rd grade, there was this new building that they made at our school, right? So they made this new building and it was way off to the side, yeah? And the new building happened to have a library in it, as well as our classrooms, like the third grader classrooms, right? So me and my friends, because I was a little shit when I was a kid, me and my friends used to look up bad words in the dictionary, because we're in fucking 3rd grade, you know? We used to look up bad words in the dictionary, and what we ended up doing, we'd all sit in the back of class and we just look up bad words, yeah? And that was whatever. I think a lot of kids did that. But what we got in this habit of doing is in the middle of class, when the teacher would say something like whatever it was, right? It was like either funny or silly or something like that. We would do this big exaggerated thing where we would just say random like curse word phrases, right? So one that we would say a lot is the teacher would say something like, I don't know, like weird, and we would mouth really loud to each other in class, like, what the fuck, right? Like just really, really like exaggerated. And I said it one time and the teacher was looking directly at me and I didn't know. And this is like 3rd grade, dude, right? Teacher was looking directly at me and she called my ass the fuck out and told me that I should be ashamed. And literally the entire class was just staring at me. And she was like, you should be ashamed. Never say that in my classroom again. That's a terrible word. And you should feel really bad for saying things like that. And then she sent me to the fucking office and I'm like, And I had to get up and watch my entire class just like stare at me with like wide eyes because they thought I had like killed somebody or some shit. I was like, fuck, dude. Don't worry, in 2023, dictionaries are banned in Florida. True, dude. True. Yeah. That's one of those moments that still to this day I think about. I'm just like, man, fucked up, dude. Rip. Oh, where'd she go? Philo, Ancient Greaves. That's probably it. Learned English a lot faster than all my classmates because I always played computer games in English. Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common theme, is like just video games in general causing random people to learn English. Like whether or not it was just you like playing with people who spoke English online or just played English video games or things like that. That seems to be a pretty common theme. We're calling my teacher in 10th grade a fucking wanker. Nice, dude. 10th grade is probably like, you probably like know what you're doing and just get in trouble for it, but I was like in 3rd grade, dude. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And to this day, I think to myself, I'm like, man, they're just curse words. Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck anymore, dude. I say that shit all the time. I literally just said it like 3 times in one sentence. All right, not great, unfortunately. This belt could be good, but we actually just found like a crazy belt, so. Stun duration on enemies. Okay, question, chat. Is studded belt actually really good for clear here? I don't think we need to worry about it with Boneshatter, right? Like, it's not a huge deal. Because it says pulse has increased area of effect per 0.1 second of stun duration up to 400%. I don't think we need to worry about stun duration pretty much at all, right? Like, I already feel like I'm doing massive AoE clear, yeah? Like, I can hold on to this, but I don't think I need to worry about that, right? Like, it's probably fine to just not worry, because it already feels like I'm blowing shit up, you know? Right, we got all of that. Here's our first tier 2 map. Yellow. Oh, why is that not on that? Do this while I remember. Okay. Always think back to the day I found out my only friend in school talks to me because our teacher told him to. What the fuck? I don't know if I like the teacher for that. I'm not sure. That seems super fucking weird, man. Like, I get, like, the intent was probably pure, but... Like, kids are shitty, man. Not on purpose most of the time, but... It's like, I get the intent was probably pure and she, like, wanted you to, like, talk with people or some shit like that, right? But, like, holy fuck, dude. My vocab has always been pretty good, but funny enough, I actually got like, so I was always really good at reading when I was young. Yeah, like I remember when I was in like kindergarten, I think is what it was. They had this like book series where it was like color coded depending on how difficult the books were, right? And it went all the way up to like red and purple, right? And I think red was like the hardest book. Yeah. And I remember that in kindergarten when I first went in, I was in all like the gifted classes and stuff like that, and I think that's what contributed to my fucking horrible anxiety and my inability to work properly. But yeah, I was in like gifted classes and stuff, and I remember in like kindergarten they started putting us on the books, and there was like 10 levels of the books, and it started with like white, blue, green, and all of that, right? And most of the kids, like, they put them on blue and green, but I started on like purple, which was like the second highest one. I remember that I was just able to read those books like no problem whatsoever. And then eventually it got to the point where a couple grades later they put me in the gifted classes. Man, that was like the worst fucking thing they could have done to me. It was like the gifted classes just made me realize that I could essentially just not really cheat, but like skirt my way through everything. Like I didn't really actually have to try on it. Holy shit. My resistance is fucked up or something? No, oh, my fire resist is fucked up. Oh wait, did I not? Did I not fix my fire resist? Even with endurance shard is my fire resist. Ooh. Wait, what are the mods here? Wait, when did my resistances go down so much? What did I swap? Huh. Interesting. Okay, but yeah, I realized very, very quickly how easily I could skirt around all of the rules and like get around stuff super, super well. Yeah, so I was in all of those gifted classes, and I started realizing very quickly how easily I could skirt around the rules and how easy I could like just get away with shit, right? And it like wasn't a problem whatsoever for me. And that started like my real big difficulty with work ethic and stuff, is because all throughout grade school, I was able to I was very, very lazy because I realized that all of the work was so easy for me that I could just do my homework like right before the class started, right? Like I didn't need to try at all. So I learned absolutely zero work ethic, and that fucked me up really hard. And it was like super hard for me to like build myself out of that. It was absolute nightmare. All right, we need to get a little bit more resistances on this ring. I think it's this one that we swap. Okay, let's see here. Too much lightning. So I need to swap this to cold. I should be able to just swap that straight out, right? I'm gonna have to put bigger resist stacks on this stuff. Is that actually better though? No, it's not. Yeah, it is. I just need to swap this to cold. I just need to swap it to a big cold roll, because I'm not going to change that. That's a lot of my currency, but I think I have to do it. Okay, and now I need fire and cold resist. When did my resistances get so bad? Damn, dude. Can I swap to one of those other rings now? Have you ever gotten to normal classes you'd experience what the human jealousy was like in person? Yeah, it's like the thing about it was it was like good then while it was happening and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, who cares? You know, this is easy. Haha, funny. But it ended up being like a huge problem for me. Like a huge problem for me. Yeah, my resistances are quite bad. Don't exactly know how to fix this right now either. Yeah, I don't know how to fix this right now. Would this fix it? Potentially. I'd have to 4-socket 4-link that. It's my amulet. It's absolutely my fucking amulet. I'm trolling. It's my amulet, dude. They just go buy a random dexterity amulet and throw like an essence or some shit at it. I was like that for arts classes, but in high school STEM classes became legitimately university level at my school. Yeah.
Greetings.
Okay, so... Damn, no Dex amulet. Dex int would actually be ideal.
For freedom.
Sucks that there's not one there, though. Yeah, it kind of screwed me over quite a bit. It was really hard to learn work ethic, and by the time that I got into high school, I just had so much less work ethic that it was like... It was tough for me to be able to do things properly. Don't really need strength 6. Alright, we're just gonna have to find an amulet. I'm just gonna have to suffer for a little bit till we find an amulet and throw some stuff on it. As much as that sucks, I think that's just the key right now. I just need to keep going. Because my resistances should be mostly covered with endurance charges, so it should be fine. I didn't get any tier 2 maps. How's your work ethic now? I've worked really hard to fix it, and I mean, it's better. I wouldn't say it's like fixed still to this day, but reflect elemental damage. I don't do elemental damage, right? Because I'm using, all right, yeah. I wouldn't say it's better even to this day, but like, you know. Oh, can I use, did I keep that amulet or did I sell it? No, I sold it. Well, it's a difficult thing to undo, you know? Like it's not easy to undo by any means. Because it's like my entire upbringing, essentially my entire life was just procrastinating, getting shit done at the last moment because I could do it, right? And for years and years and years I was able to do it. Like I was able to get through almost all of school by just procrastinating until the very last moment. Like I used to do projects that we were given like a month on. I used to do them the night before. Like I would start thinking about it the night before, right? So it's like, and I would still get like 85s or 90s on some of the projects all throughout school until I got to like senior year, like junior year in high school. I was still able to do it, and it completely fucked my work ethic and made things so difficult for me. And then around then is when I had that issue with where I've talked about it a couple times on stream, but my whole like the start to my like anxiety disorder issues, how my family never really told me that there were just like latent psychiatric disorders in my family, and I like asked them specifically and they said, oh no, everything's fine. Because the thing about it is I had a couple friends that had access to like various kinds of different like psychedelic drugs and other things and stuff like that. And you know, I was trying to be smart about it because one of my friends had told me, he's like, hey, you got to be careful because if you have a bunch of like psychiatric problems or like any kinds of disorders and stuff, those kinds of drugs can bring out those disorders and sometimes exaggerate them heavily, right? And I remember looking up like different drugs on like Arrowid, I think was the website that I used back then. I remember looking that stuff up and trying to figure everything out and seeing which ones were okay and which ones weren't. And it said, you know, you shouldn't have any problems as long as you don't have a family history of like psychiatric disorders. So I asked everyone in my family, I'm like, hey, do we have any problems with that? Is there, you know, any of that kind of stuff going on? And they all universally said no. Turns out they fucking lied. Six link with terrible colors. Yeah, it turns out they fucking lied, right? Real hard. And so yeah, I had a bunch of latent disorders creep up very quickly. The thing that actually did it, when I had smoked, like just smoked weed, it didn't do too much, but I noticed it after I started smoking a lot. The one time that I noticed it is I got way too high, because we had like this friend who just had access to really fucking crazy shit one time, and I noticed it after that one. I got way too high and I was like really super anxious during it, and then after that I never really felt normal again, right? Like I always just kind of had that anxiety in the back. But being a kid, I didn't know. I thought it was just normal. Like I didn't think anything of it, right? I just thought I was like growing up and realizing the world sucked and I was getting more anxious. But I did, interestingly enough, acid never fucked with me. I took acid one time and it never messed with me that bad. The thing that did do it though was fucking Robitussin. I did that one time because my friend pressured me into it because he wanted to try it himself and he didn't want to do it alone. That one time is what fucked me. And that brought out my, after that, I was never the same. So yeah. Robotripping legitimately destroyed my friend's brain. Yeah, I didn't do a crazy huge dose. But yeah, no, it sent me quite literally into a year-long anxiety attack. Like morning to night, 24/7, 365, I was in an anxiety attack after that because it like legitimately put me in fucking psychosis for a straight up year. And that was the year. You would think it would be the other way around, but no. That was the year where like my life kind of fell apart pretty much. And I had to like scrape everything back together because that was the year where I got kicked out of my house because I wasn't able to do anything. I lost the job that I had. I lost pretty much all of my friends because I couldn't really like function properly, I guess you could say. It's like hard to stay friends with someone when they're like unable to literally do anything but like sit inside. Yeah, I pretty much lost everything around that time. And then I had to like, eventually I like got my way out of it, but I kind of had to like scrape my way back out of it. All right, where are we going here? I guess I could go here for resistances, right? I could also take diamond skin. I took that. That's what I just grabbed. I could grab these nodes, but I think I need resistances, and I probably need to run a few more auras. Like, I can run flesh and stone if I grab these nodes. Sleep problems come before or after that. I've always had the sleep problems. Like, I've actually had those my entire life, even before that. But yeah, no, it legitimately, like,
Cannot do this yet.
it fucked me over real hard. All right, let's see here. I need scours real bad. Attack speed. Orbs of binding aren't super useful. 15% warlord's mark. I don't need help with endurance charges. Okay, good enough. Yeah, I unfortunately went into like a year plus long psychosis because it came back one time. Are you in good term with your parents? I've always been on good term with my dad. My parents were split when I was younger, so I went to go live with my dad, but I got kicked out from my mom's house, right? And then I went and like drove down to Miami from there and stayed with my friends for a little while after that, but then I came back and I lived with my dad. And love my dad, but he was not in the best place in his life either. Because my dad worked construction pretty much his entire life, and he was a plaster, and he was like a foreman, right? And unfortunately around that time was when they started doing the thing where houses were being like, you basically would like put the wall together, like pre-make the wall and then put it up, right? Not just houses, but like big buildings, because the thing that he specialized in was working on like big giant like skyscraper type buildings, right? Like there's a big giant building in my downtown that was essentially all of the stucco work, the plastering was done by my dad, right? And the thing about it is that it was around that time when that started being used, and he pretty much completely lost all of his work, right? So he was pretty screwed over there. And things weren't going super well for him, but I had to move in with him, and I essentially had nothing, right? I had no money, I had no job, I had no schooling, because I was in like a year-long psychosis at that point where I couldn't really function, yeah, like at all. So I kind of I got on assistance. I had like food stamps. I survived off of that for a little while until I could like get my mental together enough to where I could like go and apply for jobs. I applied for some random jobs. I worked at Walmart for a little bit. I fucking hated Walmart. I left. I got into I started working like tech at like a tech repair shop. That place closed down. And then I eventually got in at Staples and worked my way up to being a tech manager there. And then started talking with people online, started figuring out stuff of being management, and eventually worked my way out of it. But essentially it was essentially I just had to like, with the whole anxiety thing, because what it did is it brought out something called, I have generalized anxiety disorder, but I have a very, very aggressive version of generalized anxiety disorder. Like, essentially the way that generalized anxiety disorder works is that normally, like most of you probably know what anxiety feels like, right? Like that like nervousness feeling in the back of your mind where you feel like something's going to go wrong, right? Like you feel like what's going to happen here? It's like the worrying feeling, right? Well, for me, that worrying feeling is constant and it never goes away. It's just a 24/7 feeling, right? But the problem is with the generalized anxiety disorder with the strong one, it was almost like I don't know if you guys have ever experienced like an impending sense of doom, like when you feel like you're gonna die or something. I have close to that 24/7 whenever my anxiety is in its like bad stages, right? To the point where like tunnel vision, strobe vision, memory, like lapses in memory, like I'll forget what I'm doing 4 seconds later, like just general confusion. And it was just that like 24/7 for like a year straight, right? And essentially what I found out that I did later, because I had no money, I had no health insurance, I had no anything, right? So I found out what I did later was I did cognitive behavioral therapy, because essentially I just kind of like I just kind of sat down, and I was always good at video games, right? So I had like a good mind for like figuring stuff out and like figuring out patterns and stuff like that. So essentially what I did, it was just like, okay, so what my brain is doing is my brain is just immediately jumping to the worst conclusion about anything at all times always. I just need to rewrite that part of my brain, right? Like I just need to teach my brain to not jump to the worst conclusion at all times. I have to do that somehow. And eventually I just started trying to be like mindful of what I was doing at all times, right? I had to tell myself that if like I jumped to some terrible, horrible conclusion about something, I just had to like be like, no, that's not what's happening. And try to like rewrite the way that my brain jumped to conclusions. And eventually I did it. And then things started to clear up a little bit. However, the main thing that made it start working was actually just physical activity, cardio. That was the thing that actually made me like not freak out anymore, right? Ooh, this is gonna be rough. Because like if you have anxiety or any other mental disorders or things like that, unironically, I know people say, I'll just work out, you know, I'll just go do cardio, it fixes it, and you think that it's stupid. It's not. It's actually legitimately not stupid. Fuck, come on. Orlink. Come on, this helmet's good. It actually has been like scientifically proven at this point that it works. Any way to cure the feeling that life is meaningless? Try to find something that gives your life meaning is what I would say. Went through mindfulness training to absorb myself in what I was doing, such that my brain never goes to dark, anxious places. Yeah, like specifically cardio helps more than you might realize. Okay, we need cold resist here. Okay, I can do that. Lowest roll possible. Of course it would be the lowest fucking roll possible. Damn, that sucks. But it is slightly better than what we had. Alright, hold on to that just in case. Alright, what else do we have? Alright, enough sad talking about anxiety shit. Let's talk about video games. Plus, when you have cardiophobia and the increase in cardio activity triggers your panic attacks, I feel that. I had a bit of I have a bit of a high when it comes to generalized anxiety disorder. It also goes to your health as well. Like you for sure, like you overestimate every single thing that's happening. One funny thing that still happens to me sort of this day is that acid reflux and like indigestion and like stuff like that can actually feel pretty similar to a heart attack. And it's very unfortunate because I have really bad acid reflux in my family. But I still keep the timer. The timer is for all the way to Eater and Exarch. I have pretty bad acid reflux in my family, and sometimes whenever my acid reflux is acting up pretty bad, it can genuinely feel kind of like a heart attack. The reason is that the nerve that's associated with the heart, I think it's called the vagus nerve, it like wraps around your fucking esophagus, right? So you can have, oh, I don't have determination on. You can like legit, oh my god. Yo, chill, brother. Yo, can you? Stop, please. Holy. Yeah, it's called like the, let me look it up. I don't know. Is it Vegas? Yeah, Vagus. Vagus is the nerve, and it like goes through here, and it like wraps around your esophagus and goes into your chest, right? So the problem is that that nerve can get stimulated super heavy if you have like weird things going on when your acid reflux is happening, right? So it can cause you to feel like you're having like heart palpitations and all kinds of crazy shit, right? That's not very fun when you have like an anxiety disorder that makes you think that you're dying constantly. Tights had that issue of mixing up the feeling of intestinal gas and coronary pain because it's very bad. Yeah, he said he went to the hospital because he was having some like weird issues with that, right? I remember that tweet, yeah. But yeah, it can legitimately feel like a heart attack. Like it's actually kind of spooky whenever it does happen. So yeah, it's a very scary feeling, but once you realize that that's what's happening and realize that if you can clear up the acid reflux and everything else, it just goes away like instantly. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much choice over being a hypochondriac with a lot of that stuff. I have to do the same thing that I did with all of the rest of the stuff. Like, you want to know how bad it got, chat? You want to know how bad it got? There was a point in my confusion and haze and like bad shit going on in my life that I thought cheese was causing my anxiety. I thought it was cheese. Funny enough, there was issues regarding like lactose products that were causing me problems, but it wasn't the anxiety problems that it was causing. Damn American plastic cheese. No, I fucking love American cheese, dude. Anytime that I want to have melted cheese, fuck yeah, dude. Anytime, like, I don't know, man. We talked about this the other day on stream, and chat was like, no, you're wrong. When it comes to burgers or sandwiches, specifically, and you're wanting a melted cheese for texture, you either make some kind of, like, melted cheese product yourself with, what was it, sodium citrate? Or just use fucking American cheese, dude. Like, for other stuff, sure. Obviously, you don't use American cheese, right? Like, if it's specifically the type of cheese, like, if you're, like, grating it for pasta, or you're like cheese is like a main part of the dish or something, but if you're melting it, you know, it's high quality American cheese, right? You got to get the good shit. Don't just get like the government cheese slices, okay? Swiss can melt okay in certain aspects if you want the Swiss, but for the main thing is for strong tasting stuff, the lighter tasting cheeses, you can't even taste them anyways, right? So there's no real point in having them on there. Just call it Young Cheddar and people will stop bitching. It sounds like a fucking rap name, dude. All right, where was I going here? I was grabbing resistances, yeah? Going this way? Okay. I'm not gonna go clear this map. Not happening. This is the character playtime. This is the character playtime. It's really unfortunate that that 6 link that I found was such terrible, terrible colors. It was very unfortunate, dude. Goal here is we are just trying to see if we can relatively quickly get to Eater and Exarch. That's all I really care about. I think the timer that we made, I think we hit maps with all 3 labs done and all skill point quests done at like 6 hours and 30 minutes. It's not like as good as like Eraser or you know, like anything like that, a speedrun or anything, but I think it's pretty good. What content can Boneshatter do as a main farming strat? It's really good for clear. I don't know that you would want to do Boneshatter as like a boss farmer. Like, it could definitely do it, but it's pretty good for clear. I know at the very super high end, you could probably do things like Simulacrum with this if you got like really, really good gear. But yeah. If I remember correctly, Lance was doing like 10 to 12 hour Eater and Exarch runs. Yeah, something like that. Like, if you can get, this sounds like Terraria, dude. It's not. That like little bit there at the start, I was like, this sounds like the music that plays when you like open Terraria. I think it's good to league start it. If you want to play Melee, this is probably the Melee league start. I don't think there's much else that beats Boneshatter when it comes to Melee. You know? Frostblades is just Boneshatter but worse, I think. Because like, it has a little bit better clear, but the clear is already good here, and the single target on Frostblades is even worse. What about Pure Sunder? I don't know. I don't think Sunder has enough power in it to really carry solo. Heat Shiver though? With like some really big Heat Shiver abuse and stuff, yeah, sure. But even at the top end, you can make Boneshatter do some pretty good damage. At the super duper high end, sure. But we're talking about league start mostly. We're talking about a league start. Brine King touched. Nothing good. Let's hope that that ring is good resist though. What are the top 3 biggest nerfs you expect to see this patch? Vengeance Cascade. Maybe Heat Shiver. Not sure beyond that. There's not really a lot of stuff that I think needs to be like giga nerfed in any way. Like there's not really a lot that I can think of that like needs nerfs right now. Axe. Yeah, Molten Shell got nerfed recently. I mean, it kind of made sense to nerf Molten Shell a little bit. Like, it was just oppressively stronger than all of the other ones without fail, but still felt pretty bad. I would have liked the other ones to be buffed a little bit because I feel like they're kind of useless because Molten Shell is still better than them most of the time. But you know, it is what it is. You could Giga buff or rework something. What would it be and how? The way that steel skills work is what I would change. I would just change the way that steel skills work. One, two, so here, 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 there. I have a pretty big desire for there to be a way. Damn, that's such a low percent fizz roll. It's a hybrid one. I have a pretty big desire for there to be a way for steel skills to be played that doesn't feel fucking terrible. 72, 70. It's not really much different. That one's 5 link or 5 socketed. Okay, 2 stone ring was terrible. What? I want like an alternative way to play them where you don't need to do the cycling. Is what I want. I want there to be like a jewel that you can use that prevents the need. Why did I just alk that? That prevents the need for cycling. That's what I want. Even if it like reduced the power of it in some ways, I would just like a different way to go about it where I can just brain off and just right click, you know? Because I feel like a lot of people would like that. I personally am fine with the 2-click playstyle, but I think it would give it much wider appeal in general to people. I'm not doing Delirium right now. Not with Consecrated Ground. But yeah. and they're just normal skills. I just like the option to be able to do that. And they're not really normal skills. You still interact with the steel shards and such. Let's wait until the RF fire trap nerf drops. You think they're gonna nerf RF again? People play it not because it's good. Like, people don't play the build because it's good. They play the build because it's consistent and has a really good build guide. That's it. Those are the reasons that people play it. It's not because it's, like, overpowered or anything. Like, honestly, RF has just been nerfed so much that it's almost like, for me, realistically, it almost feels unplayable. And the fact that they keep nerfing the power of it doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, because it's like, people don't play it because it's good. People play it because it's just a very consistent, comfortable, tanky ability that doesn't require you to do very much to be able to accomplish stuff, right? So it's like, I don't know, it would be very, very strange to me to nerf RF. Like, that would just be so weird to nerf it again, right? Like, they've nerfed that ability enough at this point. Has gotten plenty of nerfs. That being said, nerf incoming. I dislike the whole nerf what's popular kind of thing. It feels kind of bad. If they nerf Spectres again, GGG actually just hates minion players. Like, they actually have just like a vendetta against melee players. There's no other explanation. Because like, Spectres are already such absolute garbage that there's no other way that you can realistically look at it if they nerf Spectres again. Yeah, it has very little, very, very little to do with the skill being super powerful when it comes to that. 3 charges per use, increase the amount recovered. Huh. I'll keep this for memes. The dinner specters, the new and the made specters work won't come back. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't look at, like, League-specific content going away as, like, a real nerf, if that makes sense. I kind of always expect League-specific content like that to potentially just be gone. It's a very expected thing for me, at the very least. Poison on hit. This will probably destroy me. Because, yeah, Crucible was a very strong mechanic in general, right? Like, it had a lot to it that would make, you know, like, a ton of builds way stronger at the top end. So, when we lose Crucible, we will lose a pretty decent amount of player power. But we are getting a decent amount through, like, the tattoos and stuff as well. It would be very strange for them to nerf Boneshatter, honestly. It'd be very strange. Would make no sense in my opinion. I need a little bit more rage before I go in there. Huge meta shakeup might actually come with the new support gems. There's a lot of new support gems that are going to do a lot of new stuff, so there's potential for a meta shakeup. Because yeah, it's obvious that Vengeant Cascade is probably not normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's actually the same to go both ways, so I do go this way. Yeah, Vengeant Cascade is obviously an outlier, and it's pretty obvious that they want to nerf it at this point, because they put the support gem in. But other than that, I don't really see anything that's like oppressive that isn't already going away with Crucible, right? So yeah, I think that there's not really a ton of things that are on the nerf poison. A lot of the applications of poison are already going to be nerfed, so the real thing to be careful about, to be scared of, in my opinion, when it comes to things getting nerfed is when they rework stuff. Because a lot of the time they will rework stuff, but those reworks include like rework uniques or rework mechanics that make it difficult. And that's the thing that can be spooky, because you can't really ever prepare for those. They can just decide that some kind of mechanic is like problematic and they want to rework it. And then all of a sudden those items don't get nerfed, but their availability is just gone, right? What do you mean applications of poison? Things like Vengeant Cascade, being able to like double projectiles and things like that easily. Why do occultist pops sound so shit compared to bleed pops? I don't know. These are like corpses are just destroyed by the axe mastery. These aren't really bleed pops, if that's what you're talking about. But in general, yes. I don't know. I think most pops in the game sound pretty good. The glad pops? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Please be a good amulet. It's something. It's got room for life too. Am I gonna be able to use this? Yes. All right, our resistances are good now, right? Yes, sir. Thank goodness. Oh, at long last. At long last. I'm destroying this shit. Get out of my inventory, dude. Okay, lighthouse. Okay. Less damage on the new returning projectile support gem doesn't affect poison. The fact that you lose a... The fact that you lose, that? What do you mean rip Dex? What? Wait, what? What do you mean? What happened? What are you talking about, Sheik? Huh? Talking about like patch note stuff, or? Huh? You just posted. Wait, what? No shot. It's real, dude. Next week will be my last week at Grinding Gear Games. When I first joined, I turned 23, and back then I had this sense of dread that I'd missed the boat on life. Only a day after joining, I fell in love with Path of Exile and decided I would try to make the most of it and see what could happen if I just dove in. What happened was I met thousands of amazing people. I learned so much about myself, about people, about my craft, and the industry. Found a little home away from home alongside many other people who are looking for a community to feel part of. Cannot fully explain just how meaningful the last 10 years have been to me. My time here has fundamentally changed me and will forever be part of who I am. I'm filled with gratitude. I want to say thank you to Chris, Jonathan, and Eric for creating Path of Exile. Thank you for anyone who ever worked at GGG and helped to make Path of Exile what it is. It's impossible to be a good CM without a good game team, and I have been so lucky. This is just her Twitter, her official Twitter. That's the picture. I want to thank the people on my community team for always making me laugh and for trusting me to guide you. I also want to thank you for picking up where I am leaving off. I know you'll be amazing. Finally, you, the community, have made this experience what it is. I've known some of you the entire 10 years. I've watched you go through many stages of life, many of your partners having kids, having wins and losses, healths, up and downs. It's been a privilege to get to be even a small part of your lives. I will miss you all. It'll be strange when someone jokes patch notes when, and I won't know. What I do know is that the next chapter for GGG is going to be a great one, as you saw at ExileCon this past weekend. Path of Exile 2 is going to be amazing. I will continue to cheer the team on from the sidelines. I've always deeply cared about what I do and the people I get to do it alongside. While I'm excited for my upcoming journey, it is, of course, quite sad to end one that has meant so much. Very proud of my time here. Left nothing on the table. Everything I had to give, I've given. Thank you all again. I can't thank you enough. X. That's actually really sad, dude. That's actually really sad, dude. Oof. What's gonna happen now when there's a really bad patch and we need like someone to put the flames and the fires out? Oof. Patch notes win, man. Patch notes win. That's rough, dude. That's rough, dude. I don't think they would ever, I don't think they would ever fire Bex. She's probably just got... The thing about it is that you can only work at one place for so long before it starts to stagnate a little bit. You can only work for so long on one thing before you feel like you're starting to stagnate a little bit. And I totally see it. She probably has been thinking that she's about reached the conclusion on what she wants to do. And maybe the Path of Exile 2 shitstorm pushed her over the edge. But no, that's probably not the case. She probably has been thinking about this for a while. But yeah, it's probably just that she's reached that point where she feels like she needs to take the next step and jump up to something bigger, you know? I wonder where she'll go. I'm curious, because she can pretty much go anywhere she wants. Like, I feel like any community team would be, like any company would be happy to have her as a community manager, right? Or even like a marketing manager, anything, right? 10 years is a long time in the same company. Oh yeah, for sure. That's like decades, eons, centuries. She will go to imagine, dude. I doubt it, but imagine, dude. That would be hilarious. Maybe she would be the savior that Blizzard needs, dude. She would be the savior that Blizzard needs. They have a new community manager in Nick, who has been pretty decent recently, but it's definitely felt less personal from the community team in general, and I think that's probably by design. It's always very, very, very difficult to be the forward-facing person of a company, right? The person who's like out in the front. Like, for example, at TFT has Mort Dog, and they are so fucking lucky to have Mort, dude. Like, that guy is very passionate about the game. He is like, he literally like streams the game as well, right? Like, the dude obviously loves the game, he's good at it, and he's willing to be that like shield in the front, right? Like, TFT is so lucky to have Mort Dog, and those kinds of people are really, really hard to find, because you need somebody that both enjoys interacting with the community and is okay being like a literal shield for the rest of the people at the company, right? Because you're just gonna get shit on relentlessly, constantly, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So it's a rough position to be in. Like think about how much shit Chris gets, right? Think about that. Think about how many memes are made about Chris. Like, I don't think he really deserves any of that, right? But he does it on purpose. He knows that he is like the shield for the rest of his team, making sure that they don't get shit, right? Arm Passionates next week? Yeah, next Thursday. Alright, what's left here? I really hate this map because it's so weird. It's hard to actually clear everything. Whose bald head would we meme about? Mine. Okay. Can we look at deaths? 31. I death ran a lot on the bosses. I think that's where most of that's from when I was leveling up. Okay, Breath of the Council. Interesting. $167 to $387. That's sad. That's better than my weapon, dude. This one hand is better than my axe, dude. I still can't use it, but like, that's sad. Use a support gem, but you gain an anoint. It's not very different. I think a support gem and an anoint can be relatively different. Probably depends. Alright, so Overgrown Shrine. Cannot be taunted. Yeah, that's fine. So essentially what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to just get all the way to Wandering Path. We're trying to... I'm just going to turn this off. Trying to get to Wandering Path. Trying to get Uber Lab. And then once we have those two things and we can get a better weapon, we can just start the push towards Eater and Exarch. I think those are the only real things that we need. I think our defenses are probably going to be fine just as we level and get more health and more everything that we need. I think our defenses are actually fine right now in general. The main problem is just getting a better weapon and getting Uber Lab and such. Because, like, the defenses will come with just whatever better gear that we find. Because our gear is pretty terrible right now, honestly. That's crazy, though. That was not what I was expecting to hear today, that Bex was leaving. That's not what I was expecting, dude. Not what I was expecting at all. Scumfist the Zealot. Get out of here, dude. And Soul Eater and Temporal Proximity Shield. We're in SSF right now. We're doing all the testing in SSF. I just shouldn't have killed this thing. It just wasn't worth it. You're good, dude. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm curious where she'll go. I guess we'll almost assuredly know, but... I'm curious as to where she will go. Well, the new league is pretty much all done, right? Keep in mind, Bex was marketing manager, so... she wasn't really doing the community stuff anymore. She still was like the mouthpiece for the company, but she hasn't been doing the community like stuff for a while. I'm sure she was still like helping them and being like, yeah, you can do this or you can do that, or don't say this or don't say that. But that wasn't like her main job, and it hasn't been for a while. She land somewhere good. Paradox Coffee. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of hope she doesn't land at CD Projekt Red. That would be... I don't know. CD Projekt Red has not impressed me recently. It almost kind of feels like they had lightning in a bottle with The Witcher 3. Crazy, we've never seen her do an interview or talk on stage. Yeah, I think she just didn't want to, right? I need to not be killing these rares. Like, there's no point. Yeah, I think she just didn't want to. I don't think she wanted to really give people like much chance to have a face to. Well, we know what she looks like, but I think she was worried with how bad gaming communities can be with women. I think she wanted to stay out of the limelight as much as possible, and I do not blame her for that, even in the slightest. Because gamers are fucking terrible to women, unfortunately. It's very, very sad, but they are. And her being like the mouthpiece for a company, and if she was like public facing constantly, it would probably have just been a nightmare. Regardless, it doesn't matter. So I fully understand why she wouldn't have wanted to do that. Alright, what do we got? Chaos. Oh hey, it's that amulet that I vendored before. Okay, what do we have here? So slow. Radius. Alright, none of the other random stuff is good. We want the Screaming Essence of Contempt. I don't even need to think about that. Okay. No, you're very wrong, Aush. When it comes to the way that women are treated online, they are treated significantly worse by gaming communities than men are. Like it's significantly worse. Like it is so fucking bad. It's ridiculous. Okay, so okay. Get rid of that. That's a lot of resist, a lot of armor, very little life. This also has very little life. Life regeneration rate? 490 armor. Yeah, I need to take the armor. It's public facing. Like when it comes to like content creators and public facing, being a woman is very, 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 very rough. It's not a fun experience. Okay, so let's see here. What do I want to do with this? I just need to socket it, right? Jesus. Okay. I need 1 green. Okay. Okay. Big resist, big armor. Alright, so now we can worry less about resistances elsewhere if we need to. Cube is awake, so I'll be ending stream relatively soon, but let's get a bit further ahead. Let's see. I need to go back to Disturb. Yeah, sorry about that, chat. I wasn't on what's it called? I was not on D&D. We have a little bit more that I want to do here, and then we'll go, because we're gonna go out to eat here in a few. I wouldn't hire a woman as a community manager then. I see all other game community managers hopping on streams talking to community of the face. It's unfortunate, but I get why you would say that, right? Like, it is very super unfortunate, but I can see why a company would do that. It's just, you could never say that, right? You would never, ever, ever be able to say that, but I can see why a company would want to do it. Because, like, it's very rough how women are treated in online communities, specifically gaming communities. It's very, very rough. Shitty. And it has been getting better, but it's still not fixed, right? Like, it is getting better, but it's definitely still not fixed. Not even close. Boneshatter starter friendly? It's probably the most starter friendly melee that there is. Warframe, yeah, Warframe does have 2 female community leads, and they've had lots of problems with that. You could probably ask them how nasty people are to them. Okay. Blood stance? Oh, yeah. Whoa, bleed. Okay, Raider Crown, none of the rest of that. It's there. Yeah, it is quite unfortunate. It's getting better, it definitely is, but it's definitely not solved. And it's a very hard problem to solve. Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is they even do have really good communities for the most part, and there are still issues, right? Like it's very tough. Yeah, it's a very tough issue. And keep in mind, it's not representative of the whole. It never is. It is still like a smaller subset of people, but that's everything, right? Like, unfortunately, the people that are willing to say things like that are typically also, you know, not really of having the nicest things to say. Like the vocal minority, right? Like a small percentage, but they say a lot of the bad shit, right? Like a lot of the time when you hear people complain about stuff and hear people being evil or mean or anything like that, it's typically a very small percentage of people who are doing that, because I believe that for the most part most people are good people, right? Like for the most part. It's not like everyone, like 80-90% of people are just being assholes for no reason, right? It's just you've got this like small 5% who are assholes who are also very loud, right? And like to shove it in your face. The studies just don't agree with you, Phoenixia. It's both of those things. It is both the amount of the insults that they get and the severity of the insults themselves. Like it's already been pretty well established at this point. Does this have an open suffix? It does not. Oh, I don't want to do all of those. I don't really need these here. Well, who else are you going to trust on social sciences besides people who do social sciences as their job? Like, I don't know who else you would trust. Like, there's not very many options, you know? Thoughts on PoE 2 so far? It's a year away. It'll probably be a completely different game the next time that we see it. Yeah, but I mean, like, I would say if you want to go by what you see, go ask some, like, female content creators what they deal with. Is going to be a much better representation. Okay, so do we want anything from there? Where do we want to go? Probably this, yeah? That or life. How much more life can I get? I've got 4,200 accuracy rating. So I can get a decent amount more life, but I kind of feel like I need a little bit more damage right now. So we'll go for the fizz stuff. Don't get me wrong, men face a lot of problems as well, but when it comes to, like, receiving hate online needlessly, I think when it comes to the gaming community specifically, women definitely receive a lot more. typically it's not random targeted hate for immutable characteristics when it comes to men is the big difference. Like, the most common immutable characteristic that a guy will get hate for over a woman would be bald, right? I think female streamers get more hate because they're in a more public figure. That's already an unfair bias. I'm talking about front-facing females versus front-facing males. There's no difference between the two. That's what we're talking about, right? Like, we're specifically talking about public-facing figures, right? Why do you just like pull shit out of your ass all of the time, Phoenixia, with these kinds of things? Like, why would it ever be split down the middle? Like, the research has been done. Like, you can't just like hand wave all of the research and all of the stuff that's been done by people who are prominent in the spaces and say like, well, I don't think it's that way, and just back it up with nothing. Like, you do this all the fucking time. Then back it up, dude. Because they're idiots. Not everybody just has a random crazy agenda, dude. You can't just say that everyone who disagrees with you has an agenda. like that doesn't work. Like that's your argument for like half of the shit that you talk about. It's just that, oh well, those people are wrong. Sorry. Like that's your argument for like half of the shit. When it comes to like specific stuff, you're pretty good, but like when it comes to a lot of these like societal things, your argument is just like, oh no, those people have an agenda, or oh no, that's this. You know how many dumb social studies I've been linked? Sure, because there's a bajillion of them out there, but like you have to sift through the bullshit and get to the good ones. Unique items. But I'm not generalizing the entire female subset on using public personas. I'm talking about specifically public-facing figures and what females versus males encounter. What women versus men encounter in hate from gaming communities. Like, I'm talking specifically about gaming communities and public-facing figures, right? Like, I'm not, like, generalizing anything beyond that. That's the very, very specific thing, right? Okay, Soul Thirst. Well, if you can't be bothered, then don't have an opinion on it. You don't need to have an opinion on everything. Yeah, that's...
I cannot do this.
I don't know how I feel about that sentence. Honestly, I'm gonna give you a day timeout for that one. Think about your actions, and if you come back and ever say some shit like that again, you're just banned from my chat. Great. I don't care how long you've been here. Alright, so... Marshes. Is that the last thing that we've got? Okay. Two additional projectiles, less recovery rate. Oh! Alright, this will probably be the last map, and then I'm gonna go, because I've got, I'm gonna go hang out with Goob. You know what the split is between genders on Twitch? Like 90-10 or more even? Are you talking about like viewers or creators? I don't know. It very much depends on the very much depends on what is being streamed, I think. Either both. It very much depends on what's being streamed. Certain categories are definitely much more male dominated and certain categories are much more female dominated. But I don't have the data for particularly Twitch, right? For gaming, I don't have the data for Twitch. I do have data on YouTube though. What does simping have to do with anything? We're not talking about that. But for PoE particularly, it is like 95-5. But it's like 95-5. Certain games have lots of women. Certain games have lots of women, but for games like PoE and such, it's significantly lower. Games that have a lot of women are things like World of Warcraft, League of Legends. Dead by Daylight has a lot of women for some reason. Yeah, like there's a lot of MMOs that have a large female audience. Things like that, right? But yeah. When it comes to creators, it once again depends. But there's a good amount of both. Are you cheating on me? Yes, with stream. Right now. Yeah, but that's you, right? Why did I come to stream and you're talking about other women? True. How dare I? I'm not fighting this thing. It's not worth it. Chat can confirm, yep. Caught me red-handed. Alright. Alright, I think that's gonna be it. Let's clear out this map and then I'll be done for today. Yeah, true. That's what it was. Just couldn't stop talking about you, so they made me talk about other women to make it equal. Chat, I've talked about her multiple times today, have I not? Yes. Are you fucking me over, chat? Come on. Alright, see? Yeah, they're tired. They're upset that I'm choosing you over them. Unlucky. Alright, chat. You're always gonna be my side piece. That's really just the end of that discussion. I do appreciate you though, boys. I do appreciate you though, boys. We're gonna go eat. Yeah, we want to revolt. Yeah, true. Appreciate you, boys. Take care. Make sure to follow the stream, sub to the YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you, gamers. Thank you for all the follows, all bits, all dones, all level support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Should see you tomorrow, most likely. And I think tomorrow we will probably finish up the run. And then after that, might throw a little bit of money at it and see what happens. Appreciate you, boys. Take care. And I will see you all later. Gamers. But of course, make sure that you pet Duckless in the chat on the way out. We'll pet him anyways, Dre Dre.